Over a whole year ago, I released the Agitator. Up until now, I've received thousands of comments and recommendations of how to improve the base, and in this video, I've compiled all of your feedback to create a new version of the fan favorite, the Agitator. This solo, duo, or trio base is extremely strong while not breaking the bank on resources. It includes an open core living area and super easy expansion steps that you can use as you progress through your wipe. Although this base incorporates no bunkers, its raid cost to TC is still 30 rockets. Plus, you'll feel right at home in the cozy open core, but for now we'll head through the extensive door path and upstairs to your roof. One of your guys' main concerns with the original base was just how many blind spots the peak downs had. And after rebuilding this roof countless times, I can now confidently say that the peak downs are better, and also the angles on medium and long range fights. You can also see we have a makeshift Patrico peak on either side of the embrasure. These make it exceptionally difficult to headshot you. You have 3 auto turrets up here hidden behind low walls, and because the roof textures are only conditional, you've essentially created a one-way peak that the turrets can see and shoot through. Above every turret pod is more peaks and head glitch angles. With that toured, let's head downstairs into the long-awaited second floor and your open core living area. Those of you who used the original Agitator will remember the 2 vending machine bunkers we had on the second floor. Since vending machines were made more difficult to place, I removed them all together and simply replaced them with 4-box loot rooms all around. This will not only make the base easier to build on console, but you also mitigate the risk of someone splashing your boxes from behind the vending machine, which was another frequent comment that I got on the original base. Downstairs, we have the main TC section of the base with 2 more 4-box loot rooms on either side. The TC is hidden away behind your tier 3, which you can open from the top. The upkeep is on your screen now. Now the starter for this base is a little larger than the original Agitator, but unlike the original, this one gives you plenty more space to actually get started in your wipe before you have to start expanding. Your TC pod will fit right in this middle triangle and seal it in with a single door. Just make sure when you place in the TC itself, it's in the very back of this triangle foundation. Surround those foundations with walls on the outside layer and place a door frame to the left of your TC like this. In front of the TC, place in 2 wall frames and fill with double doors swinging outwards like this, which will make a nice airlock to the front door. Now on the left side of your TC, we'll honeycomb the first triangle, and in the second one, we'll place a wall frame, double door, and behind that you can fit 3 furnaces. Then head over to the opposite side of the base, and over here we'll do the same thing, filling in the first layer of the honeycomb, but instead of the furnaces, on this side we'll place in a 4-box loot room with a shelf in the middle. And for this part of the base, make sure the slot in front of your 4-box loot room and the same thing on the other side are open. We'll fill these window frames in later, but don't touch them for now. After this, throw down a few basic deployables like your workbench and bags, and your starter is now finished. So now to build the first expansion of the starter, we're going to build a basic jump up off the back side of our base like this with a half-height floor tile. We'll do a similar 3 foundations on the front side, but this time we'll seal it around with walls and make a jump up to the roof. If you're really trying to optimize your storage, instead of using a floor tile to jump up, you could place 3 furnaces here instead. I'm curious to know how many of you are still watching, so head down to the comments and tell me how many frames you get in Rust on an average server. We can also fit another 3 furnaces behind this single door where eventually our battery will sit. And if you can, get metal smelting in all of these furnaces. Trust me, you're going to need it for the future steps of the base. If you don't have glass windows yet, just use wooden window bars for now and replace them when you get a chance. Now guys, downstairs in the core, we're going to remove all the unnecessary deployables. That's essentially everything except the 4-box loot room on the right side. And then we'll build another 4-box loot room over here on the left. Then like I said before, I hope you saved up some metal frags because it's time to upgrade the entire core to metal. Essentially anything you can see other than the wall frames are going to be upgraded. Don't forget to do the foundations below the loot rooms and below the TC as well. This was why it was so important to place our TC as far back in this triangle as possible so we can actually reach these walls. And just to avoid any early game raiding, I'd highly recommend upgrading above the TC to armored if you can. For the second part of the upgrades, upgrade everything to metal that's in the drop down, of course other than the wall frames. And don't forget about the half wall and ceiling above your double door. I've went ahead and upgraded a few deployables in the core, and now if you want to finish off those loot rooms with windows, as long as they're upgraded to metal, you can. But one quick recommendation I'd have is to upgrade the back section of this shelf to armored. Upgrading it to armored will surprisingly increase the raid cost by 8 rockets once the base is finished. Then head outside to the front door, and we're going to fill in the upstairs loot rooms straight to metal if you can. Place down 2 wall frames on the front, and then we'll add in a floor frame over here on the left for our jump up later. The base should look like this from the front side. Next, we're going to build in the front door with the airlock, window, and then we'll fill in the jump up as well. If you want a vending machine in the base, place a single door frame in the center triangle on your second floor. Then we're just going to isolate this drop down from the roof using a wall like this, and then place a furnace to get up and down. We'll fill in all of these slots with garage doors, but if you don't have the resources or the blueprints, double doors work just fine, and replace them as you get more garage doors through the wipe. It should look something like this once complete. Now here's the simple double door airlock that I like to use for going up to my roof. If you prefer a more complex design, I definitely recommend finishing the roof first, just to make sure you have enough space. Next, we're going to add in the final honeycomb layer for the base. The first area we're going to honeycomb is the 4 walls with a window in the corner. Place down 3 triangle foundations, 3 floors above it, and then honeycomb normally all the way up. And if you don't have the metal yet, you're welcome to just do this section to stone for now. Just remember to upgrade it to metal later. Then head around the base till you find the opposite 4 squares with a window in the corner, and then honeycomb the same way. Now, in between all of these sections, you're going to see the metal foundation that we've upgraded earlier. And on all of these metal foundations, we're going to place in a square foundation and then build up basic honeycomb off of that square all the way up to the roof. Then on top of your roof, fill in all the tops of the honeycomb to the corresponding grade. You'll notice some of the floors on the roof are still stone, and we're just going to upgrade all of those to metal. I'm also going to upgrade all of the front door section to metal. This is just preference, but it will increase the raid cost slightly. If you have the metal frags, try to do this. Now, as you would expect, the loot rooms are pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you how to get started and then you can finish the rest. Start in this back loot room closer to the drop down to the core, and we're going to start by sealing in this back section of honeycomb, and then you can make it a simple 4-box loot room with a shelf in the middle. Just make sure that shelf is upgraded to metal. Then just repeat the same thing on the opposite side, and then it's time to place down your boxes. Once you place down all 16 boxes, add some windows and upgrade the frames to metal. This is also where I recommend placing the repair bench. You can see it, I placed it in the back right loot room here. Now, starting with this Honeycomb to the TC, we're going to upgrade any wall and floor that needs to go to HQM. This isn't something you need to do all in one step, but just do it throughout the wipe as you progress. And if someone raids you from the very top of your door path down, it's important you upgrade this stone wall to armored as well. Now, I totally get that some of you may find the HQM cost too expensive, especially if you're playing solo. If this is the case, you can skip out on upgrading these window frames and the shelves inside. It won't make a huge difference to the raid cost, but I would highly recommend trying to get an armored door on this TC pod if you do end up skipping those. Now, because roof pieces only cost 7 high quality metal to upgrade, we're going to do the entire roof, of course minus the honeycomb on the sides, and don't forget to do inside your airlock as well. Now again, if you're trying to save on HQM, you can skip out on the majority of these HQM triangles for now, just upgrade the main 6 above the open core. And I forgot to show this earlier, but by your front door, don't forget to upgrade the airlock door frame and the 2 roof pieces above. With that section finished, we're going to move on to the peak downs for the base, and we need to start by setting up these floor frames and wall frames all the way around off the metal section. With that done, here's how to build in the roof, starting off the main squares on all 3 sides of the base. And it's very important that we place in these low walls off the wall frame before we place in the triangle roof piece off this tile. And this part is completely optional, but I like to add in some roofs around the peak downs. For the turrets to have perfect vision, place them right in the middle of this square foundation underneath the roof on every side and seal in with a low wall. I also recommend upgrading the roof to metal, which will make the conditional one-way peak. With that said, thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you for building the Agitator 3. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.